This video isn't advocating finding who's to blame and then pointing. The message is actually the opposite. As a professional proofreader, I get paid to find fault, and it sometimes crosses over, unpaid, into real life, even into my mouth. As a recent dental patient, admittedly not a very patient patient, I've learned that things aren't always as they seem. Here's the story. Food stuck in our teeth. It's not just embarrassing, it's uncomfortable. We can hardly stand it there for even a minute. So we usually pick at it until we find relief. Imagine that it's something much thicker. And in 4 teeth. For 4 weeks. That's what having spacers feels like. There are 2 other spacers on the left. This initial step in the process of getting braces may not look at all uncomfortable, but looks are deceiving. Those cute little baby blue rubber bands are forcing teeth apart to make room for these. The metal bands were to initially be placed just long enough to make an impression of my teeth. At that appointment, it was noted that there wasn't yet enough space for the metal rings, so these thicker spacers were placed for 6 more days. That was just a quick dental update. But what I'd really like to share is a thought that came after uploading the previous video titled Alignment. In it, I pointed out this protruding tooth that's been sticking out since I was a little girl. For 50+ years, I've thought that it was the bad tooth, the rebel that got out of line and thus allowed the teeth near it to shift. But I've recently begun to question whether pointing to it as the culprit is actually accurate. Isn't it possible that the shifting of the teeth near it is what pushed the front tooth out? In checking online, this appeared. A single front tooth can protrude on its own, but it is often pushed forward by overcrowding or shifting of surrounding teeth. One possible cause of overcrowding: a narrow jaw can crowd teeth together and push front teeth forward. All these years of blaming that front tooth, poor thing. So what was at fault? Indeed the front tooth? The surrounding teeth? A narrow jaw? I may never know till heaven, and I doubt I'll care at that point. But the point here is, might we be pointing where we ought not? I recently read an author's blog where she recalls how she used to think that cocaine was the culprit in her ex-husband's addiction. She later learned that it was only the numbing agent, and that unresolved grief had fueled his need to numb. She says that she blamed the drug when she should have blamed the pain. We don't always know what people are dealing with. Bringing it close to home, similar to this tooth perhaps not being the actual rebel after all, but possibly the one pushed by its peers to boldly misalign. Have we ever been pushed by our peers to boldly misalign, aka sin? Have we ever let them win? In a modern translation, Proverbs 1:10 states, "Should your less honorable peers pressure you to do what is wrong, you should be strong enough not to go along." In childhood, teens, and early adulthood, we may have often given in to sin just to fit in. But can we really use that excuse anymore? Of course we can, but should we? Between now and Christ's second coming, crucial spiritual tests will be coming. Let's not be pushed or pulled to violate our conscience. Whether this protruding tooth rebelled out or was pushed out, either way, it went out. Let's not follow its example. Instead, by God's grace and strength, let's stand firm for Him.